Now, while I think people could easily agree with Square Enix president's statements on if Japanese developers imitate Western games, they will not be able to produce good ones, but the only issue with the statement is the company, Square Enix themselves, their actions go against his words with the censorship and ethics department.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my god.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. I think anyone can agree that when you imitate something, it's not going to be as good as something that you created that's original. Now, nothing is going to be 100% original, and I think people realize that because, you may take some things, some mechanics from other games, use them in your own, but it's not that you can't create your own original game, which that's very important to create your own original game rather than trying to stay within the corporate checkboxes that you always see go on all the time. It's like feels like just another game with a reskin, and it's like, oh look, I pretty much played this game. I mean, that's the feeling I get personally whenever I play some modern Western games today. So the president of Square Enix has some things to say, and yeah, I have some thoughts on some of the things he said because there's some issues with it. Speaking to the current state of video gaming, Square Enix president Yosuke Matsuda says he's of the opinion that even if Japanese imitate Western games, they will not be able to produce good ones. Exactly, because imitation, yeah, it doesn't always go well. One of my biggest issues, shooters, because I kind of got burnt out on them a long time ago because I felt that they were just so similar. I had no interest for Halo Infinite, and then again, Halo 4 basically kind of killed the franchise for me, so there's that. But a fantastic game that did take risk that I would recommend to anybody is Elden Ring. Like, that game is so much fun, it's so addicting. And then you have journalists that are out there that are freaking out going, why are you playing Horizon Forbidden West? Well, first off, I want to play good games, and secondly, I don't want to play as Jabba the Hutt's daughter. I've been going back to older games from like the 2000s and the 90s even, and God, it feels like a refresher because it's just been so much fun. Fire Emblem 7, I've been going back over that again, and God, is it fun, and Lindis is Windus.
You're goddamn right.
And gaming's very important to gamers because a lot of them will even go back to older titles because some of them are their favorites. And, sometimes the old classics are some of the best because they have heart, soul, and creativity poured into them. I mean, yeah, it was about making money, but at the same time, it was also about the art of creation and the art of storytelling. And it's like, nowadays, some games, they're just about making a quick buck, and it doesn't feel like they have much put into it. Like, it doesn't feel like they have passion or soul into it. Now, the president of Square Enix continued by saying, I believe that playing is a sign that one is a person. Matsuda opened the interview via DeepL, as it is said that people are creatures of play, homo ludens, and without entertainment, I believe that the mind would die. Now, I highly agree with that statement because I think people need entertainment to be able to escape reality from their problems and just have a good time sometimes. I do agree with him on that. Our job is to continue to innovate the fun and entertainment, he explains. So, what is interesting? If we know this, we could have no trouble. In the case of games, I think that if the creator has strong beliefs and persistence, there is a higher probability that the game will succeed. I think that there's a shot at that because, if you're really passionate about something, you really love something that you're working on, then yes, there's a chance it could turn out to be really well. I mean, then again, you could just not care and then it turns out to be a shit product. Nobody wants that. Isn't that right? Last of Us Part 2. Yep, nobody wants that. If you intervene too much while the development team is hard at work because you are worried, it will not go well, he said. You should not open the lid of the pot too many times or peek into the pot without permission just because you are concerned. So we think it is important to patiently wait for the developer who is the cook to make the food. You see, I would believe this, but with that ethics department looking at what you're doing and then saying, oh, well, this is problematic. This has got to be changed. This has got to change. If anything, to me, it just sounds like they're taking Western work ethics and just being like, oh, yes, well, this is how we have to do it. We got to do it like this. And then they look at, like, characters like Tifa, for example. They're like, oh, well, we got to tighten her chest. We got to avert the male gaze. It's so hurtful. It's so offensive. Because that's the way they're acting. Because, I mean, it sounds like they're adopting the Western work ethics. That's what it sounds like to me. This is why I don't believe what he's saying here. Interestingly, however, even if Japanese imitate Western games, they will not be able to produce good ones, he claimed. The drawings of monsters and the visual and audio effects are all somewhat Japanese, and players around the world know that a given element is what makes Japanese games good. Overseas markets are important, but it is not enough to develop for them. Problem is, though, they've been catering to the global market. They've been looking at what Westerners they would think, emphasis on, would be offensive. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, look at one of the recent things that they've done with the Chrono Cross. You know, the Radical Dreamers Edition, censors, panty shots, and suggestive dialogue. Yeah, because that's gonna definitely get you more customers. Seriously, they need to not listen to Western journalists. They also need to not listen to idiots on Twitter, because when they do stuff like this, well, yeah, you know, your original fan base, they're going to start to be turned off to the ideas. This is why Square Enix has landed in the hot seat for quite some time, because all these changes they've been making. I mean, like, nobody wants this change. You know, like Tifa, they tightened her breast. Nobody wants that. Nobody wanted that at all. You know, there was nothing wrong with Tifa before. Their argument trying to be, oh, we wanted her to have a more athletic body type. You know, you can still have a more athletic body type with big breasts. Like, women do. There are women out there that do. I mean, it's so dumb. But on the conversation of this, Square Enix recruitment page boasts about ethics department censorship. This was something I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while, because this is something that's very worrisome, because there was a lot of controversy behind what they did with Tifa, and there was no reason to change her. Besides, people loved her for her character, but also her assets.
Oh my, how lewd.
A closer look at what goes on in Square Enix's ethics department, which brought about forcing Final Fantasy VII Remake's Tifa Lockhart into having a smaller bosom, has potentially been revealed by way of a recruitment page, as one individual working there shared that their objective is to check for anything discriminatory, biased, or offensive. Man, that sounds so much like the West. Like I said, this sounds to me like they are copying the Western work ethics, and that's not good. That's not good at all. A recruitment page for Square Enix contained a message from a Japanese employee named Tanabe Mari to potential new employees, who shared details on what her job is. A helpful individual translated the page. They'd stated, Final Fantasy VII Remake's Tifa's boobs toned down because of the ethics department found a piece on what it's like to boulderize content from the very early development stage. Now, apparently this is a more accurate translation. So, you know, this is what it states. You know, we're going to look at what this translation is, but this is what it says, apparently. My job. I started out as a game designer on an online game. Nowadays, though, as a member of the Quality Assurance Department's ethics team, I do a content check for all of the company's titles. More precisely, I look at scenario art and all other aspects of a game to see if there is anything discriminatory, biased, or offensive. Oh god, if this translation's accurate, this already sounds terrible. On top of being involved with so many games, we in the ethics team are involved with each one for a long span of time, from the initial planning stages and continually throughout a project's development. It's a great feeling of accomplishment when a game finally gets released. Favorite part of my job, because the ethics team's job is to make changes to whatever the devs make, I have to take responsibility and make sure that any changes I make/suggest are justified. It's a lot more than a simple yes-no sort of thing. Being able to propose an alternate expression is also a huge part of it. One aspect I try really hard at is to make sure my changes aren't noticed by the end user. For example, a type or a controversial, problematic, weird, artistic, or verbal expression in a really emotional scene could ruin the experience. The user not noticing my changes means that I've done my job right. On the flip side, when a game I was involved in gets released to outstanding praise, it feels like I'm the one getting praised for my work, and it really makes my day. Oh god, if this is an accurate translation, then this is terrible. Like, this sounds like they're hiring blue-haired land whales that screech at attractive female characters.
Oh, check it out.
Oh man, this doesn't sound good. It sounds like they may have more power than we realize. that's not good at all. As indicated, it was believed by some that this ethics department merely suggested changes, but might happen to be the ones directly censoring Square Enix titles themselves. The Honeybee Inn in the remakes was changed to take modern sensibilities into account as a result of the corrupt narrative that has swarmed over the entertainment industry in the West. Similarly, the ethics department was also responsible for tightening Tifa's chest and will probably bring about other ludicrous changes in the future for the sake of political correctness. Now, with this translation and everything, and the things that have been going on with Square Enix, it seems likely that this might be an accurate translation. And look, here's the thing. The company is going completely against what the president of Square Enix is saying. And this is why people don't trust him, because the actions of the company prove otherwise from what he's actually saying. And the problem that continues to surface is they may continue to alter attractive female characters like Tifa, and then start to make them more like pro golfer Abby Smash.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
This is why nobody believes what he's saying. As much as it would be wonderful if he, had merit behind his words, he loses it. Because the actions of the company are completely different from what he's saying. They just need to let the developers create how they want to create. I mean, that's the best way to go about it. Don't listen to these game journalists like Kotaku, Polygon, or IGN. Fuck those guys. They're not gamers. They're a bunch of activists. They're a bunch of hack activists that want to spew their fucking nonsense. Don't listen to them. That would be like, saying, hey, stick your hand in a blender. That's a good idea. No, it's not. That's a terrible idea. Seriously, I hope that they're not listening to them, because that's a horrible idea if they are. There's no reason to change things or alter them, just let the developers create the way they want to create. I mean, seriously, screw the censorship, all that shit. Just let them create how they want to create. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you were new here, and make sure you were still subscribed, because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you were still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like, and also be sure to share the video on social media, spread the word, and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on all these forms of social media. I'll leave updates on when the newest videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on all these forms of social media. The links are in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today, and remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.